Hey everybody, it's James Vagley here, and welcome to episode 192 of the MBA podcast. And this month we've been talking about a topic called engage communities. So that's one of our 9 areas of the mortgage business blueprint: how to grow your mortgage business fast so it works with or without you. Today we've got a case study. Love the case studies. I've got my man, myth, the legend, Ash Plaisted, to co-host with me as always. So Ash, how are you going?
Oh, I love case studies, James. And I love that there's the word old fashioned and tactics and tricks are involved in the title to this one. All of things which I love. So yeah, looking forward to diving a bit deeper on this.
Well, I'll let you loose in a minute on the old school tactics. Listeners, we're talking about something called good old fashioned tactics that still work, um, and actually work better than new ones in a lot of cases. So we do a case study every month. We like to talk about real world strategies and tactics, things that have worked for us in the past, working right now for us, things that are working for our clients as well. So that's what these case studies are all about. And when it comes to engaging communities, so that's keeping in touch with prospects and clients and partners and just generally engaging our online and offline communities, it is very easy now to get caught up in new school. So, and become overly obsessed with things like your website and social media and, using technology and automations and Zoom meetings and emails and SMSs and automations and Zaps and CRMs and all these sort of things that uh, are incredibly valuable for a business to have. But an alarming trend I've seen over the last, number of years, Ash, is that a lot of brokers and businesses have forgotten or have stopped doing the things, the fundamentals, the old school strategies that work really, really well, and actually in some respects work better than the new school. So way too much attention is spent on technology and new stuff, and there's a lot of people dropping the ball on the old school stuff. Where would you like to start with this one? We've got lots of examples, lots of places we could go.
Yeah, and I think this case studies. There's multiple parts to this case study. It's not just one specific case study, but they're all actual case studies. So let me start with this. I still working with this customer or client of ours, and we were talking, I don't know, it's probably a month or two ago now. And he's a relatively young guy, late 20s, and he's working on some of the engagement stuff that we've spoken about in the previous episodes this month, which are building momentum, building awareness, and going quite well, not generating immediate leads just yet. It's not designed to do that. So we're having this conversation about his pipeline, and he's like, "Oh, Ash, the pipeline's a bit dry at the moment. I really need to build up my pipeline quickly." And I asked him, "Well, what do you think you should be doing?" And it actually blew me away when he didn't know. And I'm thinking in the back of my head the whole time, well, old school, come on, let's see what you've got. He didn't have anything, right? So we came up with a strategy, which I basically drew from my old school playbook. And, I want you to make a list of 20 people that you know, right? Do you still have a business card? No, I don't have business cards. Okay, doesn't matter. I want you to make a list of 20 people and I want you to ring them up. And I even helped him develop a very basic little script, just a guideline of this is the tone of the conversation. My career's at this place. This is what's going on. Just wanted to let my valued, friends and contacts know. That sort of tone. Now, within, I think it was probably 6 weeks, which is now probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got an update from him. He followed and he took action. Most important, took action and just got out of his social media, got out of his internet, and social media is going to do all the hard work for me, and actually started picking up the phone saying, "Hey, it's me. I want to have a chat to you." Well, guess what? Within 6 weeks, he's now submitted his record month, right? And none of it came from his, what I would call, digital strategy. Still valuable, still being developed, but it's a longer term play. So he got out of his own way, got some advice, a couple of old school tactics, which is do this, say this, and then Don't ask for business, just tell them what you're up to and see what happens. Well, guess what? Very quickly, I don't think he even got through the 20 phone calls. He might have only got to 9 or 10 of them. And people wanted to do business. Oh, I'm glad you rang me. Funny you should ring me. I'm just thinking of XYZ. So that sort of stuff used to work, still works now, will always work, right? So we've got to understand digital stuff is amazing for a lot of things, but I don't think it will ever replace human to human contact,
Yeah.
right? So it's this hybrid AI or tech with human beings. So the old school tactics, we would even maybe recast that terminology, James, and call them human being tactics.
That's probably a better one. And I like what you said. Listeners, we're not slamming on new school. Like, no way. Like social media, running ads, technology, like our businesses and our members' businesses, like rely and run on new school strategies and technologies, right? But we, as Ash said, there's a massive problem. I call it like a laziness or a sickness. I don't know what it is, but it's this: I'll sit behind my computer and I'll punch out social media stuff like I'm seeing, I'm hearing at all these events, and I'm going to, I want to buy leads, or I want to do marketing. I just want to sit behind my computer and it's just going to come to me. I don't know where anybody got that idea that that would be either A, easy, or B, produce good quality leads, because it's neither. It's hard and the leads are less qualified a lot of the time. Whereas, as you said, Ash, if you just went out and talked to people, be interested, be interesting, be helpful, ask people, use cards, be visible in the local community, be active, get out there and talk to people, you would have a 10 times faster, 10 times better result than if you hid behind the computer posting on social media half the time. And we don't want to get too much into the mindset of why people are choosing to hide behind the computer, but today we probably just want to go into some of those old-fashioned tactics that still work, and hopefully remind a whole bunch of people that are listening to this, that if you're sitting there listening to this podcast and you need more business, if you're not writing at least a few $1 million a month, there's either two problems, one of two problems. It's either you don't have enough people to talk to, or you're inefficient and don't understand how to write loans quick enough. You need to solve both of those very quickly, or else you're going to run full steam into the situation we see a lot of brokers in, Ash, which is they write one loan a week, and for some reason they spend 40 hours a week doing that. Like way too much time working on one deal, and then way too much time doing stuff that doesn't make the boat go faster. And, so yeah.
Got another case study, righto? Folks, listen up. So, and I have spoken about this before, but you may not recall. And this is a really good example of the dangers of what is otherwise a very good digital strategy. So, a broker that I worked with, this is a couple of years ago now, he's an independent contractor, but he works within a brand that's relatively well known in its location, has a very strong digital presence and a very strong digital strategy, right, to generate interest and opportunities. The problem with this guy was, and he contacted me and we talked it through, was that he has to share a lot of the commission of the deals that the company generates, right? Because they generate them from their expense. And if he gets a loan out of it, he has to give them a big chunk of the commission, which has some merit, don't get me wrong. However, he said, Ash, how can I get clients of my own that I don't have to share commission with, but without doing anything that's contrary to what the company's doing? I said, well, how about you try this? It's called Ash's Cafe Hack, right? So I told him how it works. I said, righto, I want you to get 5 or 10 business cards. I just want you to stop into your local cafe, the one that you might frequent occasionally, and I want you to start conversations with 5 or 6 people about whatever you want to talk about, the weather, politics, sport, whatever, and just leave it. And then you have a conversation with the barista beforehand that says, when these people come up to pay for their coffee, I'll leave you with $30. I want you to pay for their coffee, and just say that bloke you were talking to paid it. He just wanted to do a good deed for the day. So he did that. And then he contacted me the next, probably 48 hours later, and he did this on his way home from the gym, right? He used to go to the gym in the morning, and he was in his gym clothes and stopped off at the cafe and did this. I'll go to the conclusion. Long story short, within about a month, he'd written, I forget the exact number, it might have been $26 million worth of new loans purely from that process. Like, he did it once. Out of the 6 people he paid the coffee for, I think it was 3 or 4 rang him and said, "Funny, first of all, thank you. But secondly, can we talk to you about XYZ?" He did it again. The same thing happened. And then the people that he served the first time referred friends and family to him as well. So it had this massive expansion effect that he generated $26 million, which is like I don't know, what's that, $150,000 of commission that he didn't have to share with anybody. And guess how much it cost him, James? Through 2 rounds of buying people coffees, it was less than $60. Less than six. I said, that's not a bad return on investment, is it? X person X. Right. So the point of this is, right, old school tactic. Here's a way to do it that's low cost, low effort, really. And it's just being nice to people and paying for their coffee without any expectation that I'm trying to sell you anything. And it works, right? So take that as gospel, find your own way to do something like that. That is just talking to people, because James, that's the key, right? The key here is it's talking to people about unrelated things to finance, and then doing a good deed in this case, which is surprising them, paid for your coffee. People will appreciate it. Because one, you've already made the effort to talk to them without trying to shove something down their throat. Hey, I'm a mortgage broker. Do you want a loan? Like, that doesn't work. But if you just say, hey, my name's Ash, great to meet you, have a great day. And then half an hour later, when they go to pay their coffee, oh, that guy, his name's Ash. He paid for your coffee. He just wanted to do a good deed. Well, it blows people away. Seriously, it really shocks people because nobody else does that.
No, no one else does it. It's such a simple, brilliant, fun thing to do. At the same time, that gets business, and it's a shame more people don't do it. And you know, if I guess circle back to close what I said at the start. If you're not writing enough business right now and you need more business, well, our response is always the same: go out and talk to some people. Like, close your laptop, get off social media, don't buy leads, go and talk to people, or go and talk to somebody that can give you a client. And that sounds super simple, and we can give you that advice here for free on a podcast. In terms of what to say, how to say it, putting yourself outside your comfort zone and being accountable to taking those actions, that's where the coaching and advice and accountability and frameworks that we do with a lot of our members, Ash, come in. Because I would almost suggest that what we do a lot of the time with our members, Ash, we're not getting paid as advisors and coaches and mentors to tell people what they don't know. Like, we're getting paid to tell them, yeah, I already know how to do that, or I know I should do that, but it's the clarity and the nuance and the detail that people are paying for. So, this sort of episode where it's like, well, yeah, I know that I need to go talk to people, but have you done it? No.
Yeah, that's so true, and it's a good sort of wrap up point, I reckon, James. Is knowing is not doing. That's an acronym, KIND, AIND. Knowing is not doing. So here's a bit of knowledge that we've given you, but what are you going to do about the doing, right?
Yes.
And that's where we can help a lot. Like, what does the doing look like? How does it fit into my overall strategy? How does it impact what else I'm doing? Like, we can help you sort those things out really quickly. But ultimately, the winning is in the doing.
Mm-hmm. Winning is in the doing. And we've talked about just a couple of things today, listeners. And I guess, Ash, if we could rattle a few more off, in terms of old school things that still work better than new ones. In-person meetings and client dinners and events work better than Zooms and webinars. Writing somebody a letter probably works better than email. You know, going and talking to people works better than hunting around on social media. There's probably another bunch of examples, whether it's, you know, working with your team. I'll give another one, Ash. Loan process flow. People are overusing automations to remove themselves from the process. Oh, customers not getting the docs back, and you've got all these fancy automations and emails that are going out with tech and this and this. And it's like, have you called them and just helped them through it? No.
Just
Like,
call them.
just what?
Just call them. Just call them. We get analysis paralysis, James. You're right. And I just wanted to jump in on that because I see it all the time. Unproductive workflows that on paper look incredibly efficient and productive, but in reality, something that could be fixed in 5 minutes is taking 2 hours because it's this backwards and forwards of automation. If somebody had just been able to pick up the phone, call the person and say, hey, this is what needs to happen. Can we have it? It'd be done. Right. So you're so right to say that. And the other thing too, of course, is that, you know, old school tactics don't mean that you're giving up on new school tactics, right? The two can coexist. We're not saying one is better than the other. The future, I truly believe this, of the mortgage broking industry is around the hybrid blend of tech and AI and human beings, and understanding where are best utilized. And when it comes to talking to people, you know, my last quote will be, and if I'm asked this, I'll give the same answer. If you had $1,000 to spend on marketing, what would you spend it on? Right? That was it. Most people say, oh, you know, ads or a letter drop. My answer is always no. Find the 10 people that most likely to send you clients and buy them $100 meal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
People to people is the core of any business generation.
Yep, I love that. It's another great hack. I'll do one more before we wrap. Yeah, especially in the, you know, whether it's, this is very topical, Ash, but, you know, making plans in your business and building systems and things like that. What's the new school approach? Take a new piece of tech, plug it in, take another. That sounds like a good idea. Plug it in, see where I can use that. You know, do this, do that. Tech. Um, Pick up a pen, a piece of paper, big whiteboard, and map out your process left to right. Or, for example, instead of sitting there and wanting more and more and more loans, have you ever sat there with a piece of paper and worked out what it is you want? Like, you know, old school business plans and systems would be, well, what's my goal? Have you ever written it down? No. So I've got 1,001 of these, actually.
It does lead to the Frankenstein's monster outcome potentially, don't you think? That whilst we are big fans of AI and tech, and we absolutely see how useful they're going to be to bring speed and efficiency in so many parts of the business, but you've got to make sure you don't lose sight of simplicity, right? And don't become just a business that's got lots of bits and pieces hanging off it, but it's actually not that efficient.
I like what you said before in that the future is hybrid, not even the future. The now is hybrid. And that's what we teach a lot of our clients is to be smart with technology, to plan old school, to remember and install the foundations and systemize and sometimes automate the old school to make sure we keep doing the old school because it works. And then when we have that foundation, start to leverage and scale using new school. Um, it's unfortunately what most brokers don't do. They're dropping the ball with old school, focusing on new school and wondering why they're spinning their wheels, not getting the results they want. But if you want better results, easier and faster, then knock on our door and let's chat. Let's have a conversation about installing old school as well as new school in your business as well. And getting some of those results sound pretty spicy, Ash. Go out, talk to people, 20 million bucks in business. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that would take that.
Oh yeah. It's all about traction, not about how fast you spin your wheels. So if you want more traction, let us help you. We love it.
Traction specialist, right here. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. That's going to round off this month. We've been talking about engaged communities, keeping in touch with prospects and clients and partners and doing it smarter, easier, better, more effectively to essentially get you what you want, which is more clients, more referrals, and a growing business that's easier and more systemized. So hopefully we've given you some tips and ideas in the real world, things that are working right now. And again, as always, to get custom help on your business installing engaged communities, knock on our door. Next month, we will be attacking another subject, a different subject. So you'll have to wait until then. But have a fantastic week. And I'm looking forward to whatever it is we pull out next month, Ash.
Likewise, James. Listeners, I don't even know what we're talking about next month. So we're all going to be surprised. We'll see you next week.
Sounds fun. Have a good week and bye for now.